All right, well, hello, welcome to Local and On-Page SEO for window treatment and awning companies. My name's Will Hankey. I'm excited to have everybody on today, and we're going to go through some things around SEO, right? And search engine optimization is what that stands for. So things you can do to encourage Google to rank your site higher, and therefore you get more traffic, therefore you get more leads, more phone calls. It's a good situation to have. So what are the things that you can do to kind of start putting that process into place? So in particular, we're going to talk about the most influential pieces of a website. And some of this is a little technical, but not a lot. I'll try to keep the nerd stuff to a minimum. How your website should be structured for the best traffic conditions, tricks to get more local search traffic, which is pretty much what everybody is after, is those local phone calls. How to optimize your Google My Business profile so you show up in the 3-pack, also known as the map pack. And Google My Business is also known as your Google profile, the Google Map system, lots of different names over the years for that as well. And why reviews influence your business profile. And then we're going to talk a little bit about something called time to long click. So a little bit about me. I recently finished a new book called Triple Your Window Treatment and Awning Leads. If you don't have a copy of this book, make sure that you request one. You can do that at wtmarketingpros.com/book. And some of you have already requested that when you signed up for the workshop today in the first place. I have been doing digital marketing for 24 years now, and obviously, spoken at a lot of different events, some window covering type events, and obviously more to come. We work exclusively with window covering and awning companies across the US. Now, these things work. This is a screenshot of a report from one of our clients. So, get some good keywords, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to get these keywords and what works and what drives traffic, and then get to the top of the rankings. So there's two columns that are really interesting here. Obviously, position, that's the position in Google for that particular search. But the other one that's always interesting is volume. Those are searches per month for that phrase. So something like basement window treatments, 300 searches a month, and they're in the #1 spot. So that gets them a nice amount of traffic. Then you lump on some of these other terms, and you can see the amount of potential traffic you can have just from ranking for #1. And this is a list of, well, we'll call it 15 words. And over time, you want to rank for hundreds of words as time goes on. And it's just a process of optimizing your content, getting the right pieces in place that we'll talk about today, and doing it over and over for different keywords. And before you know it, you'll have a lot of traffic. And this is a lot of the stuff we do for our clients. So I'm going to go over these exact strategies to produce these results today. This is all part of what we call our digital dominance method. If you've been on any of our workshops in the past, you've probably seen this particular slide before. But there are a lot of pieces to digital marketing and just getting everything in place. And today we're really going to be hanging around just this kind of #1 spot here, which is the foundational piece, the on-page optimization, things like that. We might mention some of these other things, but really we're going to be specifically talking about the #1 position here in this digital dominance method. And I do have Google, Bing, and Yahoo listed here, although quite honestly, Google is the behemoth, right? If you can make Google happy, the Bing and Yahoo traffic will come along with it, most likely, although it's going to be a very small amount of traffic overall. Again, this is, if you've been on any of our workshops, we always talk about the customer journey and the different stages that somebody goes through when they're interacting with your business. Most of the stuff we're going to be talking about today, again, is in this first step, awareness. So getting people aware that your business even exists in the first place. So we'll be talking mostly about that, a little bit about consideration, and that's around, how your website looks, things like that. when somebody decides, do I really want to engage with this business or not? But for the most part, we'll be in the awareness stage. Also, I do have some free stuff at the end. Stick around for that. I'll tell you how to get a couple of different things, some resources that will really help you grow your business and give you a great head start on all the things we talk about today. And then lastly, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to unmute and just pipe in and ask the questions. I want to make sure that everything's clear to everybody and that you understand everything that I'm talking about today. All right, enough of the housekeeping. Let's talk about what you came here for, and that's some SEO stuff. So a quick SEO overview is kind of what I wanted to cover, right? This is a list of different keywords specifically for the window treatment industry. And this is on a national level. And these are the top keywords along with, remember this column, the volume column. How many people are searching for that phrase across the US every 30 days? So if we look at window treatments, 43,000 searches every 30 days. Kitchen window treatments, 4,700. Excuse me. Bathroom window treatments, 3,000. Custom window treatments, 2,500. We're already knocking on 50,000 searches a month. And if you look in the top left here, 21,693 different ways that somebody could use a window treatment related word to find your business. So if you think that you want to rank for, this list of 10 keywords and you'll be golden, it's not really true. There are 21,000 different keywords that you could potentially rank for and get traffic from. Same thing on the awning side. Awnings, 26,000 searches a month. Window awnings, 8,000. Retractables, I bet this number is going to continue to grow. We're seeing a lot of clients in this area and a lot of customers wanting these retractables. 7,200 searches a month. That kind of surprises me. But lots of traffic out there. A lot of people searching for your business or searching for your product and your service. Whether they're finding your business is a different story, right? And this really is the foundation for everything that you do. It starts with a good website. Your website really is the hub for everything that you do online. So if your foundation's not built correctly, then you're going to have a hard time getting people to your website and getting them to convert, right? Some clients may have tried some social media and it didn't work, or you didn't know what to do with it, or you couldn't drive them to the right places, or you didn't have enough content to put out there. It really all starts with having a solid website. Now, there are a lot of different ways to build websites. These are four probably the most popular: WordPress, Weebly, Wix, Squarespace. I'm interested to know if you've heard of these. First of all, put one in the chat if you've heard of these. And also let me know which one you think your website's on, or if you're not sure, we can look it up and we can find out. But I'm interested to know kind of where you are now and what you're using. So Carol says she's using WordPress. That's awesome. WordPress is great. What about the other people on here? What are you guys using now for your website? And by the way, if you're not sure, one thing you can do, let me switch over here. There's a service, a website called builtwith.com. And what you can do is go to BuiltWith and put in your website or a competitor's website. But you can actually see what their website is built on. So if I put in window treatment marketing pros in here, it'll come back and tell you all the different things that this website is using, but it'll also tell you what platform they're on. So we're on WordPress, so it makes sense that that is the framework, right? That is what's going on with that particular website. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here that you don't really necessarily need to know, but the most important piece is what system it's on, what platform it's on. Alan said heard of these, not sure which one we're currently using. Interesting. So Alan, you might be interested in this built with tool. You can plug in your website there and it'll tell you what system it's built on. Now, it could be that if your website is older, as in like 10 years or older, it could be that it was custom built, right? And it was hard coded. Just somebody sat down and started writing code to build your site. Hopefully that's not the case, because that's pretty old school at this point. Most people are using one of these systems: WordPress, Weebly, Wix, Squarespace. Intuit used to have one. I mean, there's a couple other, and these are typically called content management systems at this point. So anyway, those are the different systems. For our company, we only work with WordPress sites. We build WordPress sites. We have all of our customers, clients are on WordPress sites. And this is by far the best system when it comes to the interoperability for it to work with SEO. And that's a big piece of why we like WordPress so much. So we specifically work with that, again, because of the ease of use when it comes to integrating search engine optimization, things that we'll talk about here in a minute. But there, you can use those other systems. That's just not what we prefer. Some of those other systems tend to kind of lock you in, like Wix and Weebly. They lock you in, and what happens is you're building on rented land, right? Which obviously is never a great idea. But building on rented land, if they decide to change some sort of thing, you're stuck with that change, right? Because everybody has to comply. The great thing about WordPress is you can pick it up and move it to a different host. You own all of the content. You own all of the database that's built for your website. You can pick it up and move it. There's nobody telling you, dictating you specifically what things you can and can't do with it, which is really nice. And as I said, it works. When you look at all these different keywords and the potential traffic that could come to your website because of these keywords, it's very important that obviously your SEO structure is built correctly. And that's what we're going to talk about now. A couple nerdy things, as I said, but I'll try not to get too technical. So the first thing I want to talk about is page titles. So this is one of our clients, Royal Textile Products. They're in Denver, Colorado. And if you were to go to their website, you would not see their page title. It is something that is hidden behind the scenes for every website, but it is a very significant element for your search engine optimization. So the way that you would find your page title, let's say I wanted to find the page title for this website, right? What I can do is right click and view the source for this page, right? And you can do this for a competitor. You can do this for any website online. And what we're looking for here is this particular tag, title. And then we see right here, Denver Commercial Window Treatments /title. So that is the page title for the home page of this particular company. And the other thing about this particular title is that is the #1 keyword that they want to rank for. Denver Commercial Window Treatments. The one thing you don't see here is the word home. This is our homepage, or homepage, or home. And the other thing you don't see here is the business name. Now, sometimes we will put the business name in at the end if there's room. However, the signals we want to send to Google are specifically that this website, this page, this homepage is about Denver Commercial Window Treatments. And that's what we want to rank for. Now, there are internal pages that have different titles, and every page on your website should have its own specific custom title. And the reason that the title is important is because that is what shows up in Google. So when somebody is typing in some sort of phrase related to your company, this is what shows up. Your title tag shows up here as the blue, or if you click on it, purple link here. And that's what you see there. So it is very important that you have a custom title for every page on your site. Now, when it comes to WordPress in the back end, there are really two main plugins you can use for SEO. One is called Yoast. The other is called Rank Math. We started out using Yoast years ago, but we have actually integrated pretty much all of our clients over to the rank math system now. But either way, it looks very similar. On the page that you're editing, so in this case, I'm editing the homepage for this company, we can see right here, SEO title. So I can plug in whatever title I want to put in there. And that's what shows up in Google. It shows up in the back end of the site. It shows up in all the right places. So that is specific for WordPress type sites. Now for other sites like Wix and Weebly, they have some sort of a similar little box where you can put some of this stuff in. Some of them are easy to find, some of them are not so easy to find. All right, the next piece is meta descriptions. So meta descriptions, again, is something behind the scenes that you don't see when you pull up a website, but is very important, right? So again, right click on the same page, we see our title there, but we also see meta name equals description, and then the content for what is this description of this particular website or this particular web page, right? In this case, supplying and installing custom-made window treatments for apartments, new construction, multifamily complexes, all the things that they do, right? Again, this is what shows up in Google when somebody searches for a phrase related to your company. So you have to start thinking about what kind of thing can I put here that explains what this page is about, but is also compelling to somebody who is searching for us or for what we do enough that it makes them want to click, right? So if somebody's typing in something like commercial apartment window treatments, it's very possible that this would come up as one of the 10 results. And they'll see this, and then they'll see the description, and they'll say, oh yeah, for apartments, that's exactly right. And they'll click on that result, go to that website, right? So that's a fantastic scenario that we would want to be involved in, right? So the meta description, while you don't see it on the front end of the website, it is very important and very influential to your overall rankings and how people are going to interact or not interact with your business. Same thing in WordPress, you got Yoast and Rank Math, and it's right down here, supplying and installing custom-made window treatments for apartments. This is the exact same thing, right? So that's where you would plug that in. So the third one I want to talk about is heading tags. Now, heading tags you actually do see on a website. And the way that I kind of like to talk about heading tags is if you look at a newspaper, right, and there's different articles on the front page of the newspaper, and there's different size fonts and different articles, usually depending on how important those articles are, right? So the bigger, the more important, the further up the page, they're probably more important, things like that, right? So for Royal Textile Products, their #1 heading tag is right here in the bottom left under the picture, Denver's #1 commercial window treatments. Does that look familiar? Again, same keywords we're going after here, but this is the heading tag. If I do a right click again and look for this, we're going to find it right here, and it's called an H1 tag. H1 is what is the #1 heading for this page. And every website should have, every web page should have a specific title, a specific meta description, and a specific H1 tag, and only one H1 tag, by the way. So it should have those things. Typically, they're going to be very similar to each other, right? In this case, they're all around commercial window treatments in Denver. So it makes sense that they're all very similar. Can they be exactly the same? They could, but we tend to kind of just switch it up, change the order where it makes sense. So instead of Denver commercial window treatments, you can see here we've got Denver's #1 commercial window treatments. Just switches it up a little bit, but still gets all the right keywords in the right places. And as I mentioned, it's right there on the website for everybody to see. So as I mentioned, this needs to be applied to every page on your website, not just your homepage. Homepage probably the most important. And if you're going to start editing your site and doing some of this work, your homepage needs to be the first one, right? It needs to be the most popular. Second page would probably be whatever product or service generates the most revenue for you, or could generate the most revenue for you, or you have the best margins on, right? It makes sense to kind of do them in order of, as these things start to optimize and start to rank, it makes sense that we're going to make money from these things happening, right? And that will obviously help you further down the road optimize some ones that maybe are not as important, but still could generate some revenue for you. So to find your tags, there's a couple different ways. My favorite way is the site colon trick. And let me show you that. Somebody that's on the call, put your window treatment company URL in the chat. I want to do this live for somebody that's on here. So if you have a website, put it in the chat if you don't mind me doing this. And let's put it in and see what happens here. So I'll wait for somebody to put their URL in the chat. There we go. Carol said specialtydrapery.com. Awesome. Thank you, Carol. So what I'm going to do in Google, I'm in Google Chrome. I'm going to type in site colon specialtydrapery.com. Site colon specialtydrapery.com. No spaces. That's very important. I'm going to hit enter. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get results from Google specifically about this domain name, right? So Google thinks that Carol has 142 pages on her site, and these are the pages. And this is how people are seeing this particular website when you're mixed in with 9 other results, right? When somebody's typing in, where are you at? So she's in Richmond. So if somebody types in window treatments Richmond, VA, right? This is what they're going to see, most likely her homepage listing along with 9 competitors. So this is why it's important to have your titles and your descriptions in place. Now, one thing that can happen is if you do not have a title or a description on your page, Google just grabs random text from your page. And here's an example. So she has a store page on her site, whether she wants to or not, but that title page has probably not ever been optimized. So Google just grabbed store-brand name and stuck it in there, right? Same thing for title. Same thing for description. If there's no description for that page, they're going to just grab some random text. So this is the testimonials and reviews page. Specialty Drapery earns the highest scores for both their products and services. Now, I don't know if she put that in there or if Google just grabbed some random text from the page because she didn't have anything in there, right? But very important to have both of those in place. So that's the site colon command that you can do for any website just so you know. You can put in a competitor here and do the same thing. Okay, what kind of titles are they using? What kind of descriptions are they using? Now, I wouldn't copy them exactly, right? Because if they're already ranking for those phrases, you're going to have to switch it up a little bit. But you can see, okay, this competitor is getting some decent traffic and ranking. Here's the title they're using. Here's the description they're using. Go visit that page and see what their H1 tag is for that page, and check that out as well. So if I go to Carol's website here, what we can do is we can do a right click and look at her H1 tag and see what that is as well. Get some ideas, from your competitors of what's working for them. Why are they ranking well? And then use that information to increase your own business. So I'm not sure why it's not loading. Oh, here it is. It's just way down there to get it going. But what you can do is view source on this. And I'm not sure if you guys can see this screen or not, but if I do a search for H1, let's see if we can find an actual H1 tag. Here we go. So she actually has more than one. So here's one: window treatment automation, Lutron controls, Somfy MyLink. These are all H1s. So these are all wrong, quite honestly, Carol. I don't want to pick on you, but these really should be H2 tags, which is basically less important, right? Your number one H1, your number one tag should be window treatments in Richmond, Virginia. And that should be the H1 tag that probably shows up here. I'm not sure why this is all empty up here, but the first thing that somebody should see when they land on your site is window treatments, Richmond, Virginia. Okay, I'm in the right place. This is what I'm looking for. So I obviously know I'm in the right place, right? These should be H2 tags because they're less important. And you can have more than one H2 tag. And just so everybody knows, you can go all the way to H6. In most cases, you're going to use one H1 tag and then multiple H2s, maybe some H3s, but probably not, right? Most web pages have a main heading and then they have some secondary headings like this. And I'm not even sure where the Lutron, where was that stuff at? So these should all be H2s like this and this. And then I never even saw Lutron. Oh, here it is right here. Wow, so these are your H1 tags right here. So definitely need to change that up. These are not even really headings. Those are just kind of buttons. This is a heading. This is a heading, that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm not going to keep picking on you. I'm sorry. But that is the site colon trick. So a great way to get some ideas for your own business, where it's at, and some of your competitors as well. Second thing you can do is download some software called Screaming Frog. Easiest way to do this is just to type in Screaming Frog into Google, and you'll find the link to the software. The software downloads on your computer, and then you plug in your URL, and it basically outputs, it crawls your website and outputs an Excel file with every page title, every heading tag, every meta description, and it gives you everything in one Excel spreadsheet that's really easy to kind of look at and see, okay, here's where we're at, right? And then we can start going in and changing those. So Screaming Frog is a great tool. It crawls up to 500 pages for free. After that, you'll have to have like a pro version, but for most local window treatment companies, 500 pages is more than enough. You probably don't have that many. As we saw, Carol had 142 pages total. And some of that could probably be filtered out. You know, her archive pages and testimonial pages, those kind of things are never expected to rank anyway. So Carol said, thank you, Will, done by a contractor. Yeah, so not unusual, not even unusual for web developers to build great looking sites, but horrible SEO, right? There are web developers out there that can even build great looking window treatment sites for our industry, interior design type sites. But when it comes to the SEO stuff, it's not done. And it's not unusual. Web developers make things really pretty. In fact, my daughter, Amber, works for us, and she is our lead web developer. She can make things look so good, and I can make them function very well, right? So great team, but it's not unusual for the two not to mix well. Or one, I should say, for one web developer to understand the SEO side of things as well. All right, speaking of web development, but actually before I move on, are there any questions about title tags, heading tags, meta descriptions? You can unmute yourself or you can just put it in the chat. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on those three kind of foundational pieces of a website. And I'm also curious if you looked at yours while I was talking and you know, what kind of reaction you had, what kind of feedback you have about your results. Come on, somebody's got something. I know you guys looked. All right, nobody wants to pipe up today. That's okay. We're going to move on. So website layout. All right, website layout is all about the look and feel of your website, how it looks, how it functions, those sorts of things. For most websites, especially local service provider type websites, we're typically going to have a homepage. Well, every website has a homepage. And then we have what we call silo pages, child silo pages, and then even sub pages possibly, right? So this is how you have to build a website for it to send the great signals to Google that you expect, right? And what do these pages look like? Let me see here. So this is a screenshot of one of our clients, Sunshine Drapery. And the most important pages, or the top level pages, are typically those that are in the top level navigation, right? So we've got about us, products, services, photo galleries, showrooms, reviews, specials. These kind of things are the top level, or that first level down from the home page, the most important first level pages that we need to build. And like I said, there are a bunch of those, right? And they could be possibly different, but for you, in most cases, they're going to be the same. For window treatment companies, sometimes they'll also have like a to the trade button on there, you know, specifically for interior designers, things like that. But for most cases, these are pretty standard. And then when you drill down into a page, so I click on the showrooms page, then we have a sub page specifically about the showroom locations at this particular company, right? And again, now we're at the silo pages, or the child silo pages, I should say. This is a child silo page. So there is a page called showrooms, and then there's one for each of these locations underneath that. So it gives everything a nice structure when it comes to Google searching through a business and understanding kind of the structure. And all of your draperies and blinds and shades are under a page called products, right? That makes sense. So having everything kind of the structure kind of built out correctly. Here's a page called window treatments for Kirkwood, or this is a city page, right? So this would be under service areas, right? So we have the home page, and then the silo page would probably be called service areas. And then under that, we would have different child silo pages for Kirkwood and Chesterfield and Smallville and Good Time, you know, Good State USA, or whatever the cities are, right? So that's kind of how the layout goes. But it's very important to make sure that when you're creating these, that you're building it in a way that Google has ease of crawling through your site. All right. Next, I want to talk about keywords. So I kind of mentioned early on that there are a lot of keywords that people are searching for. I think in the window treatment area, it was like 21,000. In awnings, it's like 12,000 or 14,000 different potential ways that people could find your business. So it's very important to understand keywords, where to find them, which ones to rank for, which ones to kind of optimize your pages for. So a good way to start with this is the Google Keyword Planner. This is a free tool from Google. And if you just go to Google and type in Google Keyword Planner, it'll take you to there. And then what you can do is type in a phrase, and it will give you all kinds of ad groups. So it kind of lumps them together, and then it gives you a list of keywords inside that particular ad group that people are paying Google to run ads for. So it makes sense that if they're running ads for these phrases, they're probably phrases that you would want to rank for organically or naturally, right? So Google Keyword Planner is a great tool. Another one that I really think is cool is called Answer the Public. So with Answer the Public, I'm going to bounce over there, go to this, answerthepublic.com. With this particular tool, what you can do is type in some sort of phrase. So I'll do awnings. And it runs, runs for a minute. And then it comes back with all kinds of keywords that people are using that include the word awnings. And this is a great way to get some keywords for different pages. Also a great way, bonus tip here, a great way to get ideas for blogs for your website. So here we've got, what does awnings mean in English? Okay, that one doesn't make sense. What size awnings? How much are awnings? What do awnings do? Let's see, can awnings be recovered? There you go. There's a great blog right there. Where are sunsetter awnings made? Are awnings waterproof? So there's some great content here for both keywords that you can use on your site, as well as blog articles that you could potentially write. And these are questions that people ask. If you scroll down a little bit, it gives you the word awnings with prepositions. So awnings for garden, awnings for camper vans, awnings with sides, awnings with lights and heaters. Carol said, is this for people always, or people also ask boxes? Yeah, so when you do a search on Google or Yahoo or any of those, it also gives you those other keyword recommendations. This is a great kind of tool that gives you some of those similar results. Typically, Google gives you like, what, 6 or something of those, and here you get a couple hundred. Comparisons, so we've got awnings and blinds, are sunsetter awnings worth the money, air awnings versus pole, I'm not sure what that is, awnings and canopies. So a lot of really cool information that you can get from this Answer the Public website. All right, so that is Answer the Public. Another tool is Google Trends. So Google Trends is basically a listing from Google of how many people are interested in a specific topic over time. So if I put in window treatments, we can see that particular phrase is getting this amount of searches over time. And you can see from June 18th through the end of May of 2019. And then you can also do comparisons. So I put in the word window coverings, and you can see I would much rather rank for window treatments than window coverings, right? It's getting 1/3 of the traffic. So that is good information to have when you're thinking, well, should I optimize this page for coverings? You probably should use the word coverings on the page a couple times, right? But really, window treatments is going to get you a 3-to-1 return on your traffic potentially. So definitely more important to get that. Now, I did mention the top keywords for each industry, and I have created a page on our website, wtmarketingpros.com/keywords. Totally free. You don't have to opt in. You don't have to do anything. You can go straight to that page, and there's a list of keywords for window treatments, for awnings, and I also put one up there for signage companies, just in case anybody wanted it. But those are the top keywords that people are searching for in those different industries. Totally free, and you can use that kind of to get started with some of your SEO work. All right, any questions about keywords? If there are, put those in the chat. I'll be happy to answer those. And if not, we will move on to Google My Business, also known as the Google 3-pack, your Google profile, Google Places, it used to be called. It's probably gone through 8 or 9 different iterations over time. So, all right, Google My Business is at google.com/business. And you definitely want to make sure that you, first of all, claimed your own business listing there and that you optimize that. So Jose said, better keywords are more competitive, right? Is it better to find a niche? Yeah, both. So the better keywords are going to have more competition. They're going to result in more traffic for your business, but they're going to be harder to rank for, right? So typically what we do is we have a list for our clients. We'll pick top 10 keywords that we want them to rank for that are not going to be easy to rank for. And then we'll pick 10 or so keywords that we think are low-hanging fruit. And we think if we can get them ranked for these in the matter of 30, 60 days, they're going to start seeing some traffic. The traffic's going to be a lot less than window treatments Denver, right? It might be window treatments for apartments. That one might only get 10 visits a month, but if we can get that client to number 1, that's 10 potential searches or clicks to their website for that term. Then you just repeat, right? You repeat for the next low-hanging fruit keyword, build content for that one. Over time, that's a great strategy, along with keep your eye on those top 10, right? And at some point, you're probably going to break a page 1 result for some of these tougher terms. It's really all just around keeping your foot on the gas for those. because of the competition that's out there. If your competitors are doing SEO, then you're up against that too. How much are they doing? We need to do more than them, or we need to create better content than they are. But there's always what we call long tail keywords. There's always lots and lots of low hanging fruit that you can get to. Thank you for your question, Jose. All right. So Google My Business, this is why it's important. 71% of clicks in a search go to these two areas. And I would even argue for mobile searches, this 3-pack is probably 71% by itself. Most mobile searchers, mobile users are making a decision from this 3-pack, as we call it. So very important to be listed there. And then if you can, like we've done for this client, also get listed in the #1 spot in what we call the organic rankings, or the SEO area of the of a Google search result. Now, in this case, they've got a bonus second page ranking. So this is where your title tag and your meta description become really important, right? Because not only is their homepage ranking for St. Louis draperies, but a second internal page at products, custom draperies is also ranking for that search. So why is this so cool? Because basically we pushed another competitor off the front page. We took 2 organic listings of the 10 for that particular search. We're also showing up in the 3-pack. So a lot of potential ways that people could click on this particular business, right? It just makes sense. So a couple things that they have in common. They've claimed their map listing. There's no spam in the company name. So one thing that we will see from time to time is a company saying, let's say Proctor here, Proctor Drapery and Blinds dash custom window treatments in St. Louis, right? You can't do that in the Google My Business profile in that system. If you do, you'll probably end up getting the account disabled and maybe even kicked out. So you definitely only want to put your business name there. Online reviews, obviously very important. You can see Sunshine in this case has 31, Proctor has 4. There is a lot to say about just the number of reviews and the star rating for those. Keyword in the title tag or some sort of variation. So you can see this, St. Louis draperies is the search, and we have that right here. The word draperies is in that title tag. And then of course for the custom draperies page itself, it's right there at the beginning also. And then lots of citations with excuse me, with a consistent reference to NAP, and NAP is name, address, and phone number. I'm not going to go into details on citations, but I do have a training session, a workshop specifically on Google My Business and how to rank very well in that system. And you can find that at wtmarketingpros.com/training. So get in there and look at that, but that's a specific search on how to kind of deal with citations and things like that. And then the other piece to this is a link profile across the web. So other websites linking back to them is a big part of this as well. So in the Google My Business system, when you log into there, you're going to see some sort of dashboard that looks like this. And then you're going to want to look for this info tab. This is the most important tab when it comes to optimizing your business information, especially for local related searches. So click on that. Make sure everything's filled out. Again, I go into more detail on this in my training that's specifically on Google My Business. But get your address. If you have a service area, put that in there. Your hours, if there's any specific days you're closed, there's a lot of other things in here that it asks. Now it also asks things like, do you disinfect between visits? Do you wear a mask? There's some other things in there, and these show up in your Google My Business listing. So it's definitely important to make sure they're all filled out correctly. All right, citations. So I mentioned earlier, citations are mentions of your business around the web that help bolster up your overall Google Map listing. And that's really what we're after here, right? We're after the #1 spot in Google Maps, so that when somebody searches for your listing, especially on mobile, that you are the one that shows up. Now, citations come in a lot of different formats. Obviously, the big one is Google, a Google page, Google profile, but also Facebook, Yelp, Bing, Yahoo, and then we've got a bunch of a couple hundred other sites. House would be another one that's known in the industry a lot. Getting your profile correct in all of these different systems is very important. Now, there's a couple ways to go about it, right? You could go to every one of these websites, fill out your profile information, make sure it's always the same, right? It's always the same name, always the same address, always the same phone number, and they need to be exactly the same. So address 123 Main Street. If you spell out street, always spell out street. Don't use ST period sometimes and spell it out other times. Make sure it's always the same. There are services out there that also do this for businesses. Whitespark is a good one where you can go find different business directories that you could manually enter. And then Bright Local, Yext, and Moz Local are services where you can plug in your name, address, phone number one time, pay them, and they will go automatically or automated fill a lot of these different profiles out for you. We like Bright Local. That's the one we use for all of our clients. They have a citation building service in there, but any of these are all about the same, couple $100 to get some citations built for that. So definitely a great way to kind of get the ball rolling when it comes to citations. And again, these are mentions of your website or mentions of your business around the web. And citations help move you up in the Google Map pack. So the more citations you have, potentially the higher you could rank in that list. All right, the other thing that's important here is reviews. I kind of mentioned this already, with Sunshine. If somebody searches for St. Louis draperies, and these are the 3 results, we've got Sunshine with 32 reviews. We've got Charlotte's with 2 reviews with a 3.0 star average. And we've got the Curtain Exchange of St. Louis with no reviews. There's something called social proof. And social proof is, if everybody else is doing it, I should probably do it too, right? It also goes for commenting. If you see a comment, if you see a Facebook post with 10 comments, you're more likely to leave a comment versus seeing one that has none, right? You're more likely not to leave a comment on that. So the same is true here, social proof. This is the obvious choice. Well, 32 people rated them nearly 5 stars. These 2 guys don't have very good ratings. I'm probably not even going to click on their results and go look at them, right? It's just a domination of the 3-pack here. Very important. Another thing you can do, and what we do for a lot of our clients, is we say, hey, every Friday or every Monday, give us a list of people that you did installs for this week, right? Give us that list. And we plug those people in to what we call Lead Boomerang, which I'll talk about in a minute. And that system just reaches out to these people. And this is something you can do manually as well. Hi, first name, thanks for choosing Sunshine Drapery. So we get the first name here from this list, right? So it just says, hi, Cleve, or hi, Jackie. Thanks for choosing Sunshine Drapery. We hope you had a good experience. Please leave us your feedback. Here's a link to do so. This works very well. For a lot of our clients, they use Lead Boomerang, which is a system that you can use to do this exact same thing. And you just click this little button here that says check in client. It asks who's the client, and then it fills out some sort of an review request for that particular client. So in this case, there's an email first that goes out, and that's this email here that we just talked about. Secondly, we also text that same customer. Hi, Jackie. Thanks for choosing Sunshine Drapery. We'd love it if you'd leave a review for us. And that gives a link to them. Nice, short text message to them. But what you'll find out is that the text message tends to generate more reviews than the email does, right? So because it comes up on their phone, what is open rate on a text message is like 98% or something, 99%. Almost everybody opens every single text message they get. So they open it, there's an easy link. I click the link, it says 1 through 5 stars. I click the 5 stars and I'm done. Super easy. So if you're not using a system like Lead Boomerang to do that texting for review requests, oh my gosh, it's very much worth the money just to get those reviews and start to creep ahead of your client, your customer, sorry, your competitors who are probably not doing something like this. Now, in this case, 2 days later, a second email goes out to this person. Hey, here's a reminder. We'd love it if you would leave us a review. Now, if they click on anything during that time, it takes them out of this automation. So we're not asking for a review after they already left us a review, right? So this system, by the way, is called Lead Boomerang. You can learn more about it at mylb.net. This is a system that we've built specifically for window treatment and awning companies. There's a lot more to the system than just the review request piece. It's a full CRM. It does a lot of other stuff, all the call tracking and everything, but so powerful just to start asking for these reviews on a Friday or Monday of the following week after the installs are done. Why that person is really excited about that awning or that new cornice that they got, right? So very important to do that. The really big thing here that I want to make sure that we talk about today is consistency. It's very important that you stay consistent with your search engine optimization, with creating new content around different keywords, and that in your Google My Business profile, you always have the same name, address, phone number when you're building citations, when you're mentioning your business around the web. Make sure you stay consistent. If you don't and you start to fall off, it's going to directly reflect in your rankings or non-rankings for your business. So a quick review. When it comes to SEO structure, 3 big heavy hitters here: title tags, meta descriptions, and heading tags, especially your H1 tags. Very important to make sure you have those correct and in the right place. Second is all around local SEO dominance, things that you can do, such as the way your website is laid out. It's easy to see, it's easy to go through, it's easy for Google to crawl through. One really cool thing you can do with the website layout is go to your website and just start clicking. Click 4 or 5 times, right? And just land at some random page and then say, okay, I want to find shutters, right? How many clicks is it going to take me from this point for me to get to my shutters page? Is it easy? Do I just click products and there's a drop down and shutters is one of them listed and I literally have to click 1 time? Or do I have to go back to the home page and then I have to find a link to our products and then I have to go see if shutters is listed, or even if there is a shutters page on the website, right? So kind of a fun little exercise just to kind of randomly go to different pages on your site and then pick something and see how many clicks before you get there. By the way, you should get there in 3 clicks or less. And if you can get there in 1, then you've probably got a pretty good layout for your site. Also, keyword research. I talked about a couple different ways to go about that. Google My Business, make sure that you claim your profile, google.com/business. Make sure you check out my training on that at wtmarketingpros.com/training. Make sure you get that to go through and optimize that profile for sure. Get those citations, start requesting those reviews. And by the way, if you have not been requesting reviews in the past, you could probably get away with the last 20 to 30 days, following up with those clients and saying, hey, we hope you really like your awning. We'd love it if you'd leave us a review. Now, could you do that for somebody you installed 4 or 6 months ago? Probably not. It's probably going to be a Johnny come lately, right? They're not going to leave you a review, or by then, it's a little worn out, or who knows what the situation could be. You tend to want to get those reviews as soon after install as possible. Again, this is all part of the digital dominance method. It's really just one piece. It is step number 1 all around your foundation, on-page optimization, and getting these foundational pieces correct. Customer journey, as we talked about, all around awareness. getting people aware of your business when it comes to any competitors that you may have as well. So I want to open it up to questions. If there are any questions, please unmute yourself, ask the question, put it in the chat. I want to make sure everybody's got all the answers, and then I want to make sure you guys get some of the freebies that I mentioned earlier. So who's got some questions for me? I'll give you a minute in case you're typing. Eric, Dawn, Jose, I see you guys come in. Thanks for joining today. Appreciate it. Carol said, no questions, but extremely enlightening. All right, that's awesome. Fantastic. That's good. I want to make sure you leave with value, right? You were nice enough to give me your time, so I want to make sure that it was worth your time. All right, if you have any questions, please put those in the chat or just let me know and I will be happy to answer those. In the meantime, let's talk about some free stuff. Oh, here we go. Alan, how do you handle competing companies trying to optimize SEO within the same market? Well, I mean, that's typical competition, right? So what you have to do, a couple things. First of all, I would definitely do some sort of like a site colon on them and see where are they ranking, what kind of keywords are they using, what kind of titles are they using, and then what kind of links are they getting back to their website. So it could be very possible that they did some SEO in the past and they're just riding those coattails because no other company is coming along and challenging them, right? I do have an article on the website on WT Marketing Pros around creating content that's 10x or 10 times better than your competitors. But at the end of the day, really, it's all around creating good content, being relevant, staying consistent, and creating new content on a very regular basis. One of the things Google looks at is freshness. So if they have an article that maybe is 2 years old, but it's ranking well, and you write an article that's better than that article and it's newer, it's very likely that that content will start to rise to the top and push that other competitor down a little bit. So then rinse and repeat, right? Continue to do that for more and more different keywords and key phrases. At the same time, there are a lot of other pieces to SEO, getting citations in place, getting links from other websites back to yours. You know, as we talked about the digital dominance method, this is really just step one, the foundational piece. But that's kind of a great way to go about it. Don't be intimidated by the fact that they're doing a lot of SEO, or Alan, it could be that they're a big company like Budget Blinds, right? Some of these companies tend to rank by default because they're big companies and they tend to get a lot of reviews and things like that. Don't necessarily be afraid of that either. We have clients that outrank some of these big companies in short order because these companies aren't optimizing specifically for Richmond, Virginia or Memphis, Tennessee, right? They're just ranking because nobody is doing any SEO in that area to the point where they're able to be pushed down. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that too much. Hopefully that answers your question. Really, it's all about just keeping your foot on the gas and making sure that you're continually doing that SEO. Jose said, came in a little late. Could we get this recording? Absolutely. I will send out a replay of this probably tomorrow to make sure everybody got a copy of this so that you can go back and review as well. So, all right, let's talk about the freebies. I did mention my book. If you don't have a copy of this, let me get one into your hands, absolutely free. I've got some right here already ready to go. I just need a label with your information on it. So wtmarketingpros.com/book will give you that. Also, the keywords I mentioned earlier, wtmarketingpros.com/keywords will get you those. Pick out your industry and grab those. And if you're interested in a full-on strategy session, I'd love to have an opportunity to speak with you about your business, where you're going, what you're trying to do, what goals you have for 1 year, 5 year, 10 years down the road. And let's see if there's a way that we can help you, first of all, see where you're at, what you're up against, and maybe even help you get to those goals on time or ahead of time. And you can learn more about that. You can get on my calendar at wtmarketingpros.com/strategy. Short 15-minute call, no sales pitch. Just want to learn about your system and about your business and what you guys are trying to do. All right. If there are no other questions, then I do appreciate your time today. And make sure to book that wtmarketingpros.com/strategy, or give me a call, 314-470-1180. Appreciate your time today. I don't know what time it is. Oh, look at that. It is exactly noon. So appreciate your time. Hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care, everybody.